Craig and I came up with 2 topics to discuss: psychedelic experiences, and then that was his contribution. I said psychology/psychiatry, parenthesis, real or scam, close parenthesis, question mark in there as well.
Yeah. It's funny he called it a fugazi or fugazi or whatever.
Yeah, my early thoughts on psychology, that stuff. There's some merit to it, but to get involved with psychologists and go to a therapist, come on.
Well, no, if you
So
got
you can just validate what's in your head.
I tend to basically be in that camp, and I'm not judging people who do it. I really would. I spent 30, you could say 40 years, really into it. This thing called the Jung Library was across the street from my house.
Jung is
badass.
Jung
right?
is amazing. Yes.
Jung is amazing. It's like sure, there's science, but then there's Tesla. So and they're in different, almost in different categories. One's a wizard, and definitely got it. And it wasn't really theoretical with him. He was just like, here's science for you, and it's right. But I think that
Freud was the one, wasn't Freud the one who wanted to take it a different direction, and Jung, Freud came first, correct? And Jung
they
was
worked
his,
together. They actually had,
one was
for a
one was
while.
the protege at first, though.
Right.
One is older.
Absolutely. Yeah, Freud
I think Jung was
younger.
Yes, okay.
But
Jung was younger, and yeah, I think there was some sort of disagreement about what they agreed on, which all great minds will do.
Yeah.
I can't elaborate on it much more than that. I don't know if you can.
I can a little bit and say that my dad always was mad at me because I'm sad. My dad was mad. Never, but he was mad because he had to be a lawyer rather than a psychologist because it would have been an extra year of school, and he had me and he needed to work. So he says. I think it's like this is this big grudge against me my whole life. He never got to be a psychologist. I actually agree with him. He became a lawyer psychologist. All he does is family law, which is a euphemism for divorcing douchebag Iranians who moved to LA after the Shah. That's his psychology. He just tells old Iranian ladies to calm down. It's going to be okay. That's him being a psychologist. But it's the psychology thing. It's perfect. He's perfect for a psychologist because he is exactly what he told me psychologists were growing up, even though he sometimes did family counseling, checked this out. But he used to say that psychologists are all crazy because they go to psychology school, they get into psychology, try to understand their own weirdnesses.
You have to be pretty crazy to do that.
It's a funny thing. It's a great gig if you can get it at the same time, if you can make a lot of money sitting there chatting with people. But he epitomized that, and I have seen that tremendously. A tremendous amount of clear-cut people who are not mentally well. Everyone knows that. They're kind of wacky, or they're the wackiest one in the family, and they're psychologists. The wackiest one in my family was a psychologist.
So it sounds like we're both saying psychology, psychiatry, all that is nonsense.
There's some big studies about 20 years ago came out showing that clinical
believe
psychology doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, I believe that one.
They're saying that
100%.
That talk therapy is basically
your world
ineffective.
is what you make of it. So if you keep telling yourself that you have
That
these
was
psychological
it.
problems, we live in
That
a
was
holographic
it.
universe
There's
where
no
whatever we focus on becomes reality.
Psychologists don't make money. What he said, psychologists don't make money off solutions. They make money off you coming every week for 20 years and telling them your problems. You can't be obsessing on your problems and get over your problems. You got to, obsess on solutions. And I think that's me. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I was told to see a therapist, and I did, and I just thought it was a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
And the therapist said, "Oh, well, you're resisting the help now. You're only going to need it later."
Oy, oy, oy. God, is that a messed up thing to say to a kid? Thanks for predicting a bad future for a kid. That's weird. Yeah, that's why.
And now the joke is on her because I've started my own podcast.
Hello, oh my God. So 23rd century. So, and they have truly, truly found that what they found is in very big meta studies, which means they study studies. You know, they put them all on a big computer and say, what does this all come out to? And I found that just talking to a friend, talking to a nice person who cares about you is
Yeah, you
just
just need
as
to
effective
get it
as
off
more.
your chest.
Maybe get some resonance, get a little bit
And
of
if you
mirroring,
don't want
get a
to
little
do it
feedback.
around people, go out into the woods and scream about it.
Talk, yes. So
Run
good.
up a hill.
I believe,
Run
man.
up a hill while you, like, beating your chest.
Smart people talk to themselves. Don't be afraid to
Oh,
talk it
I
out,
love
work
talking
it out.
with myself.
Right, I swear it's the best. Or to God, or whoever you, or the God of your crazy understanding on drugs.
You know what else I was also thinking of? I crack myself up.
You are.
I know this is a crazy thing to say.
Not at all. To look for and find funny comedians come up with jokes to make themselves laugh, man. It's a real thing. We know that a huge percentage of professional comedians are manic depressive or have all kinds of emotional problems and things they're trying to work out in their lives, and they're trying to make themselves feel better. That's a common thread.
Have you heard of the holographic theory, holographic universe theory?
Definitely.
Yeah. The one that's essentially, the way I understand it, postulates that what people as a group concentrate on, just essentially whatever you believe in, enough people in some intense of a way becomes reality. And I for sure believe it, because there's always truths in conflicting narratives, and some of it can be, and there's ways. The crazy thing is we think people that bought into the scamdemic are nuts, but the reality is
Now
there
they're
is
stuck with that in
there
their
is
bodies.
data,
Some kind of RNA tweak
there
to
is
the body.
believable data for them to say, oh, this is real and true.
I think it's been 100 years of.
But they would never
AMA.
admit that there's data to say it's not true, unlike me. You know, they're only seeing one side. They are riding the tiger. They're in the Kali Yuga.
I am honestly afraid.
Well, we are all in the Kali Yuga, but they are. Maybe we're the ones riding the tiger, and they don't even know we're in the Kali Yuga.
Riding the tiger. Kali on a tiger. Yeah, I used to think my ex-wife reminded me a little of Kali. But, and I went to Cali camp. It was a camp, yes, and it was a funny thing. It was actually called KLA. No, it was called CLA. Anyway, Cali. It's funny to me. There's a funny metaphor there that California is called Cali, like Kali Yuga. The Hindu goddess of death.
Craig also told me something earlier off camera that I'm remembering now, too.
What did I say?
When I asked Craig,
Whoa.
how long have you been smoking?
Yeah.
And the way you answered it was,
Since I was 5.5. My mom got me into it because it was like, you know, she understood herbology a bit, and she had that, and there was coffee, and there was chocolate, and there was tobacco, and those were some things she knew were slightly mind altering. You know, calmed adults down, calm people down. You use them, so just give me tiny bits of those 4 things, just to help me adjust, because I had insomnia, and I was super sensitive, little mousy Jewish kid. I was stressed out from school and everything, so. When I had, you know, she'd give it to me to help me sleep, or just if I had been up since 2 a.m. and it was, you know, she would just have a couple puffs of one of the of pot and tobacco with me.
back then it was probably better, too.
Just calm me down. It wasn't better. Now it's
wasn't
way better
Okay.
now. Right? She had to get it from sources in L.A. from her cousin and such, who was a oral surgeon, and he had connections. Because, you know, I don't know, people give, you know. Drugs are a big thing in dent with dentists. So any case, so yeah, took care of that, and yeah. So since then, but I came from a very non-addictive, It was always very practical and elegantly done, and done for a specific effect, and not. There was no
Responsibly.
Everything was.
Yeah, it wasn't party central.
No, it was very much medicinal, but done in such. Part of the medicine was doing it comfortably and peacefully, and, you know, chilling out, you know, getting me comfortable and relaxed. Just
having an experience.
Yeah, just, hey, feel good. It's okay to feel good. It's okay to balance your chemistry. Americans, I really think would be so healthy if Americans could get back into enjoying the things that are healthfully enjoyable. Right now is not a big, you know,
I'm switching up the topic.
Rocky Mountain High kind of thing.
We also wrote down psychedelic experiences, and that was your idea, so I'll let you take it from here.
All right, I think it's real. I don't think they're hallucinations. I think you're simply seeing different dimensions that it's doors of perception are opened up in your nervous system, and and your mind and nervous system. I think it's all real. I think every single experience you have
puts you in a different multiverse.
Yeah, it's just a slightly different dimensional shift. Change the channels on your brain there, and I think it's all one. Yeah, I think you're just seeing the fractal and quantum nature of the universe. Just like when you go to sleep, it's the same kind of.
Top psychedelic experience.
I did DMT once, and I did go all the way, have that blast off experience. That was quite incredible. Definitely saw angels. Was happy to see them. They were nice to me, and we had a nice experience.
For me, it was taking mushrooms with my friend out in this body of water, this little lake out in New Hampshire. And the water levels were really low, and it was, I believe, summer going into fall. The leaves were changing. Yeah, it was amazing just being there, and birds started flying around.
Yeah. I used to train a lot on hallucinogens, microdosing or moderate dosing, not tripping all the way, but just getting everything flowing. Where I saw, kind of waves of energy and colors, and everything was heightened, and then I'd go do crazy martial arts stuff for hours and hours, and just fly around, just feel like some kind of
I still have that
god
footage of you doing that. I made a pretty decent video, I remember.
Still need money if anybody wants to give me some. I'm sorry. We can X that, take that. We can edit that out. Let's see, what else?
Hey, we just need people to tune in if they like it, and if they don't, give us some feedback in the comments.
You don't have to tune in. Just give me money. No, it's fine. Tune in. So I'll edit that away.
Okay.
I mean, I know. Isn't that gauche? What a gauche thing. I'm over it. I'm tired. So, yes, what's next?
Gauche, great word.
So it is. So what about...
psychedelic experiences, we're done with it.
Okay. So,
okay.
Forget it.
I was asking, but it sounds like we both agree. All right, we'll just talk basketball. It is probably Game 4 right now in Los Angeles.
Jokic ain't no Jokic. It seems like we're playing, the guys puts sports balls, makes points with sports balls. Am I wrong?
He makes points, he makes assists, he makes rebounds.
He helps others make points with sports balls, right? He plays sports games. The guy, seems to know how to play basketball. All right. What do we do now? When he retires, he'll be great at stacking things at Walmart.
He might be.
He'll be they'll call him the top shelf specialist kind of thing.
Yeah, Serbian supplier working at Walmart distribution.
Just top
Maybe
shelf.
He'll start a business called the Serbian Supply business. So it's Game 4, and the Lakers have. The Nuggets have never swept a team in their existence, and they've never even won more than 2 games in the Western Conference.
Oh, wow.
They've never been up 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0, and now they have a chance to end it. Either way, you got to feel good. Even if the Lakers somehow pull it off, you're going back to Denver for 2 out of the next 3 games.
The Lakers doesn't sound like the Lakers are even considering winning this thing. I'm interested to see what they do this last game. Do they just kind of protect? Do they kind of protect their stars, or do they just have a blast? I assume they're going to play hard, because I don't think LeBron wants to look like look any worse.
He doesn't want to get swept, but at the same time, I bet he would rather not get on a plane and fly back to Denver and just end the series.
Okay, so this last game is in L.A.?
Yeah.
His next game is in LA. Oh my God. Okay.
So how many of their players really want to fly back to Game 5 where their crowd's going to be crazy? If they're undefeated at home so far this playoffs, they're likely going to lose. So do you really want to just play hard?
Just want to get on with your summer vacation kind
Yeah.
of thing and start resting.
But at
get
the
ready
same
for
time,
next season.
hey, you know, it's worth making a stab at it to see if you can be the first team ever to come back from 3-0. 146 teams have done it. 0 have passed through the gate. To be the first one to do it, I mean, that would be epic and legendary. So
Epic and legendary. It would. It would. That then maybe he'd be able to say.
Even if you go out,
get his respect. Poor LeBron doesn't get enough respect. You know, the homeless people on the street. They feel bad for
Homeless
LeBron
people.
not getting enough respect. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got a little Jewy on you. I went, yes. So yes.
But here's the thing about the Nuggets is Jamal Murray, who is their second best player, has actually been. He has an argument to have been outplaying even Jokic in this series.
Oh, so they're both really on fire here. They're doing great.
Yes, when you have someone outplaying Nikola Jokic, that means that they are on fire, playing out of their mind.
Okay, so hey.
So when he is your second best player, it's guaranteed that you're going to win. That's it.
Yeah.
And when he's their best player, it's still a good chance they're going to win.
Yeah.
And that's tipping off here in about 10, 20 minutes. Okay, we'll make a prediction. I will go first.
Okay.
I think Nuggets close it out.
Okay. Now, as a person who hasn't played basketball since he was 10 years old, so 47 years ago, and hasn't watched a minute of it except a couple highlights of
Jason Tatum.
The 52-point.
Who's now down 0-3 against the underdog Heat.
Okay.
Pathetic.
Right. So it doesn't matter at all. I am going to say that the Lakers win by, it's a close game, by 2.
Nice. Okay.
And
What happens after that then?
They lose by at least 14 points.
In Denver.
Okay. Next game.
Gotcha.
It's just like, yeah, that was it. And
Right.
And
added a little bit of drama.
A little bit.
Okay.
Another payday for the networks. Just get another game in there.
Sure, yeah.
Make a few bucks.
And then the other series, we touched upon it briefly. Miami is up 3-0. They're playing Game 4, also in Miami tomorrow. I think they close it out.
I'm just hey, I want to make a bet. I want to have some fun. I want to mix it up. I'm going to say that they don't. I'm going to say that it's a win by not by Miami, by
Boston.
By Boston, they win by 8.
I like that. What happens the next game? Back in Boston, Game 5 would be.
They win again by 5. Boston wins. It's that weird parquet floor. It boggles their minds.
Okay, what happens then in Game 6 in Miami?
They lose by 6.
Okay. Great predictions. Great predictions. I cannot wait.
I have a grandfather who is a bookie.
Perfect.
So I got this. It's for sure.
Okay. We're moving on from basketball. We talked about psychology, psychiatry, real, fake, valid. We both mostly say no.
Triangle. I think it's completely real. I think psychology is actually a part of physics. I think your nervous system and your brain are all 100% based on the same principles of physics as any physics equation that exists. It's just a fairly complex process, and I just don't think talk therapy is the way
it's
out of it.
It's fucking gay.
With any more
it's
than
fucking gay.
Yeah, it
bro.
is any more. I don't think talking to people about things is wrong. I think it's really good.
For a little bit. For a little bit.
Just in a practical way, right? Not bemoaning it and making it your life. I think that's the problem with AA and NA and such. It's really, you don't want to keep talking about it.
It's gay.
Yeah, it kind of is. I'm sorry. But it's been proven once again not to be actually effective, and that's why. It's the same. It's really the same as the talk therapy, thing. But I think practical psychology and really For example, practical psychology is one of the terms they use for hypnosis and hypnotherapy, which is self-hypnosis, just working with your brain, just different ways of entering different mental states and programming yourself to do different things. It's really reasonable stuff. I like that.
Yeah, become the master of your own holographic universe.
Absolutely. That's what yogis do, and athletes do it a lot. You do these different things to get yourself to psychophysically be a certain way. I think that's very practical and reasonable. And I really do think talking to smart, wise, loving, kind, supportive people is also really effective. But then kind of taking advice, actually acting on it, is,
One thing I want to bring up about basketball again is when we were talking about it last time. Hey, kitty. You were saying that Wilt and Wilt and Magic
I used
were
to see
some
them
of your
both.
favorites.
They hung out on two different sides of the beach in L.A.
Wilt and
It was
Kareem,
bizarre.
you said.
They kind of hated each other. But Wilt and Russell owned a sausage restaurant on Venice Beach, 2 miles one way, and on the other side of the beach, 2 miles in Santa Monica, near their pier, was Wilt Chamberlain playing beach volleyball. It was a funny, weird thing, and Wilt was definitely having more fun. Russell was never looked happy. He walked down the promenade, whatever it's called, in Venice, and looking little gruff. Meanwhile, I'm sorry.
Bill Russell had to guard Wilt, who was an easy 3-4 inches on him and weighed so much more than him.
And incredibly long arms.
There were games where Wilt would have 50 or 60 against Russell, who's one of the best defenders of all time, and if he could, there were games where he could probably be held to 30 too, but Russell's teams won overwhelmingly most of the time. Wilt would go off, but the team would lose. I think Wilt did get his 1 year, 69, I think. It was the year he finally beat the Celtics. But I think he switched teams at that point. He was with the Warriors, then the Lakers. He was probably still in the Warriors then.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I'm going to say, I'm not that into displaying human circuses, having human freaks on circus display. And I think it's a little Roman. I mean, I think it's a little bit 1,500 to 2,000 years ago, a little bit, to have human circuses. I really do. I like going out and watching kids play games and have fun and giggle and laugh. But I'm just quick overview. Sorry to be a lead balloon on.
Yeah, no, that's you're not into.
Yeah, these are, look here. Matas says that too. And there is a thing where we see these more impoverished people, like black people, who have less dinero, and where they're compelled to become these weird kind of slave entertainers, like, dance for me, do this for me, do this, and I'll give you some money, and here I'll throw.
That's
coins.
why I like Jokic, just because he's
Serbian.
He's the white guy.
Serbian.
Who's saying, hey, he's putting the blacks in their place.
The Negro gentleman, if you will, but okay, if we're gonna say Jesus, I can't believe you said that. Okay, thank God for editing. But oh my God, okay. Look, I'm gonna hit myself. That way, no black people have to come beat me up. Okay, I punish myself. No N-words. I'm a racist. I'm not.
He's putting them in their place on the basketball court.
It's so silly. I mean, we know people can be great athletes of all kinds, and I'll go ahead and say this: it ain't saying that much if you've got one white guy, and then we got 80 black guys who are like crushing it. So I'm not, wow, once every 20 years you get a white guy who can shoot, who can throw.
Well, there's also this guy Luka
balls
Doncic, who was another European player.
I'm totally kidding. It's absolutely. There's all kinds of great players. Stockton was a great player. There's so many players. If you want to play basketball, I got to believe it doesn't matter what race you are. But, yeah, I mean, white people can dance. Fred Astaire, skinny little French guy, can schmance.
I can dance.
Yeah, I mean, white people can dance. Black people can dance. People can dance. Humans, bipedal organisms.
Hell yeah.
But that'd be a nice thing. Dancing my dad said this to me. It was one of the good things he said to me in my life. He said, he mentioned that Baryshnikov, one of the most famous ballet dancer dudes in history, was a great athlete, and he would have been a great wide receiver in football because he had leapers. He was a Russian guy who could leap, and you know, and I just thought it was a good point. So I used to watch dancers dance when I was doing all the martial arts stuff, and I just saw how these guys are moving as fast or faster, and in some incredibly balanced and agile ways, and they're happy at the same time, rather than being kind of on a bummer like the martial athletes I had seen. It was just interesting to me. They're really doing some amazing athletic stuff. I thought it was beautiful and fun, and making friends at the same time.
Me
and
personally playing basketball,
ladies.
I played for the first time in a couple weeks, and
Yes.
my performance was up and down. I had my moments, but there was also moments where I had been eating, and you could tell I had been eating and smoking a lot, and not really staying in shape. Yeah.
And you're not a kid. How old are you?
I'm 41.
41. So he's a little past being a kid. So yeah, you feel it more. Wow, every decade, it's an interesting thing. The aging thing. It's nice to take a little care of yourself as you go along, so you don't.
So you can still move.
Yeah, you want to be a little as comfortable as you can. You want to set up to be
Oh
comfortable.
God, I can't
like for your
think
retirement.
about not moving.
Yeah. Joint circles. If anybody's interested, just circle all the joints in your body somehow. Figure out a way to do it. It's a great simple exercise to keep energy flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's toss it out. So basketball. I think the best use of basketballs is as exercise balls. Roll around on them. Give
Juggle
yourself
them.
a back massage. Sure, juggle.
Kick them.
Push-ups. Use them as
I kicked
use
the
them as a
basketball
soccer
today.
ball.
Some guy said, "Hey, don't kick the ball."
Yeah, something bad's gonna happen. All we do is bounce it and bounce it. Something bad's gonna happen. If you
He was
can't.
right though.
Was he?
I shouldn't have kicked this ball.
Oh, it's someone else's ball and he was offended. Oh yeah.
You can ruin a ball that way.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
All right. It's outside my range.
I'm gonna finish this. Is what I meant to make.
Oh,
the
please.
point I meant to make
Please.
is Jokic is doing things that only Wilt and Kareem have done before in the playoffs.
Okay.
But then becoming the first player to have done it twice in a game.
Okay. So he's hitting some actually high points. Yeah.
Yes, and 34, 21, and 14. Only player ever in history to have that game. But again, if you go down to 30, 20, and 10, then it's Wilt and Kareem have had one playoff game like that, and he's now had two.
Okay.
So when you're doing things that those two guys only, you could have an argument. Two of the top three players of all time. You can easily make an argument for Wilt and Kareem being in the top three. Certainly top five. So Jokic is that legit. Okay, now I'm going to toss it over to you. What are we talking about now?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think don't overcook your eggs. People still overcook their eggs, even with the cooking channel out there.
Hey, I noticed you got a new hat. Show them how it looks.
This is ridiculous. This is my plantation hat.
It looks great on you. Put that thing on.
When I have my, hey. So yeah, it covers the baldness. Don't throw away the fat when you cook meat. Save it for at least a couple days. Put it in the fridge. It's not going bad. It doesn't. That is very, very, very stable fat. Even more stable than butter in a lot of ways. Use it. Yeah,
Okay.
Eat animal fats.
We're going to do real or bullshit.
Not
10
canola
seconds.
oil.
Real or bullshit, climate change, BS for me.
Real or boy. A friend of mine, who I think is the wisest man I've ever met, told me it's not real. And, these cycles really do happen. I mean, they happen even with thriving. We do see cultures where there have been forests covering the earth and it's thriving as heck, and the climate still changes, So what I do freak out about, though, is bad infrastructure in the face of obvious patterns in nature. Shore yourself up. Take care of your house. Build your house out of like brick, like the little piggy who didn't get blown down.
Real or BS?
Oh, it's just that game. It's just real or BS. And
So you're saying
but
BS
you see,
on
the
climate
thing is,
change?
I think,
Okay.
at the same thing, I think the climate is changing, and I also think we need to. I mean, I do believe in pollution.
Pollution is undeniable.
Yeah.
That's undeniable. But
And
they're not talking about pollution. They're talking about carbon, weird
Right,
things.
right.
Hey, let's clean up the planet. I don't
Yeah.
want oil
Yeah.
in rivers, body,
Right,
all
plastic in
that
our
stuff.
oceans. It's not good for anybody.
Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, that's for sure.
Plant
So,
more trees
yeah,
so that way we can absorb
Yeah.
more smoke.
all that. It's proven. It's proven all over the world. They've done at least significant test studies where you do plant forests. It balances out rain patterns.
We have
and
the power
is
to
the most
terraform.
powerful. There you go. Better to
Yeah.
terraform the Earth than Mars, I say. Better chance
Okay,
of winning.
weather manipulation, real or BS? Off the top, I'm going real.
Yeah, I'm going real. I'm going, there's ways, we know there are. You can see clouds and do other things.
Yes.
I don't know how powerful HARP is, the whole HARP thing. I just don't know. I can't give out.
But
a thing.
ability to do it, I'm saying very real. And if they have the ability, why wouldn't they? And
Yeah.
what would they tell us? Do they have to tell us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. COVID,
COVID.
scamdemic or pandemic? I'm going scamdemic.
Jeez, these are like brutal, because I always got to feel like I got to add some flavor to it. It's horrifying. It's a bad cold, a bad flu. They come all the time. I believe it was made in a lab to have kind of all the bad parts of colds and flus. But so the freak what? Most of us didn't die of it. Most of us didn't feel a thing because it's just a cold and a flu. And I just think people are unhealthy and we're living on a poison planet and breathing in, Tesla vibes. And I just don't, meaning like Tesla cars. I think that's the problem. Obviously, black people in the ghetto kept dying from it. I think because they just are unhealthy living in the gosh darn ghetto. Mm-hmm. And that's it. So I think that's it.
The way that they were measuring it too was completely untrustworthy.
Yeah, I don't
The
trust
tests,
it. It's
yeah.
terrifying. What I do see is I am really afraid of the Big Brother and big medicine.
Big power.
That happened. The way it happened is ugly on every level. Once again, huge
And the way
transfer.
so many people wealth
Totally
transfer,
immoral.
the amount of people that bought it and are still buying it.
Still buying it.
These people will co-sign anything.
Don't be afraid to have second thoughts, even though you bought in and told all your friends, because that's a hard one, to not be embarrassed, not to be feel.
I can also
I
understand
can't
why
back
somebody
down
in the
on this.
moment. There was a moment where
Absolutely.
I was like, "Oh my God, this is kind of scary," and then I said, "Wait a second.
Yeah.
I've been hearing about a fake pandemic taking place for a while,
Yeah.
and it worked brilliantly, just like the conspiracy theorists predicted it would."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people who know how to play that game. I mean, there are billions and billions of dollars available in big pharma, and people know how to make money off every angle of it. So once it was on, I think every player jumped in and wanted to market their side of it. Just like in war, every big player wants to sell their gizmos because the government's buying. So I think, boy, I can't believe the money we spent on masks, on those silly, goofy, idiot masks. Ay, ay, ay. It's just the money spent on silly and on putting poison. Those hand ointments.
I thought it was
poison.
great for
That
showing
kills
everyone.
your immune system. Just so you know, that is immune system killer. That is just you're putting alcohol
Terrible.
and chemical antibiotics on your hands constantly. It goes right into your bloodstream and is a real toxin that your liver
Neurotoxin
and your
for sure.
brain and you have to deal with, as well as killing the friendly bacteria, which are a big part of your immune system, secondary immune system. It's a real bad idea. And to watch you put it all over your kids, it's just, we know that the more antibiotics you give a child for ear infections, for example, the more ear infections they get. The more chemotherapy you give someone for cancer, the more likely they are to get a more virulent cancer in the future and die more quickly. It is you're killing your own immune system with these poisonous therapies, is what I'm saying. This is for sure. That's what scared me back. That's what kept me from doing it. Just
You're being
known
poisoned in your food, your water, your air, and your medicine is also the poison.
Oy, oy, oy. That's, yeah. Oy. Oy.
Okay. Fake or real? Alien invasion possibilities.
Stephen Greer, I believe him. I just accept him as totally accurate in everything he says. I just don't disbelieve a word he says. It sounds to me like we're safe.
Okay. I think there's this.
I think we're safer with them than we are with our own governments.
There's also this project called Project Bluebeam, which essentially was to simulate the faking of an alien invasion. Mm-hmm. And when they start talking about it on mainstream, saying, hey, we're seeing aliens now, that's when I say, okay, now I actually don't think there was ever aliens.
Right. I think there really were aliens, and I think we did reverse engineer, and I think now we're using it as, now we're looking for ways, now that we have it, now that Black Ops people have it, how will they use it? How are they going to have more power, more control, get more funding, play whatever games they want to play? I think the more they fly these things around and just be a little creepy, the more the Pentagon gets to say, we've got aliens, oh Americans, we need another 100
Meanwhile,
billion.
it's just from another branch of some form of intelligence
exactly.
agency.
It's one of us. But I do believe there are aliens out there, but yes, there's also us flying around. And it's a great way to control people with fear and to get your money and to be, I think. But you know what? No one seems to be getting shot. No one's getting laser blasted. If you've got that kind of tech, you could have. Well, you know what? Yeah, all right. Well,
and people are getting shot in the cities.
I'm going to give them Charles Barkley and Logan Paul. I'm going to give them those guys and as trades, as Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Take them to your planet. Mm-hmm. That's my feeling. I think Charles Barkley will starve them by eating them out of house and home, and I think Logan Paul will make them want to commit suicide.
Well, I don't know about you, Craig, but I feel like that's a pretty good episode.
It was a great show. That show crushulated your minds, America. Enjoy that.
America, Israel,
that was
Brazil,
oral.
Chinese people that are tuning in.
Don't get me started with the ching, bing, bing, bong. Okay, seriously though, that was mind candy. Get high, listen to that, feel good, and get higher. Russell Brand stuff, that stuff he says at the beginning but sounds so douchey at this point. Enough with the hair, enough with the beautiful chest, Russell. It's very pretty skin. I want to kiss it. You're beautiful. Have a great one. Love you, America.